On today's episode of Andy and Ari on 3, presented by BetMGM, how interested are the New York Giants in Notre Dame coach Marcus Freeman? And conversely, how interested would Marcus Freeman be in potentially making the jump to the NFL? We talk about the most wanted coach in college football who has a really, really good job already. Plus, it's Bowl Pick'em. That's right. It's not just all about the college football playoff. We break down some of the more exciting bowls. We got Georgia Tech, BYU in the Pop-Tarts Bowl. We got Iowa, Vandy in the ReliaQuest Bowl. We got Michigan, Texas in the Citrus Bowl. And of course, Utah and Nebraska in the Las Vegas Bowl. We're going to talk about all those games today on Andy and Ari on 3, presented by BetMGM. We are proud to be sponsored by BetMGM. All the lines and totals we use on the show come from the folks at BetMGM. Here's how you get started. You download the BetMGM app, sign up using the code CFB, that's CFB as in college football, and you'll get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's how that works. You download the app, you sign up using the code CFB. You deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game. You receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your first bet loses. Just make sure you use the bonus code CFB when you sign up. And of course, we haven't forgotten the folks who've been signed up and who've been playing with BetMGM. This week, your gift, this is coming in your stocking, on Wednesday and Thursday, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, a Pro Football No Sweat token. So get ready to holiday cheer with a Pro Football No Sweat token. You get a stake back in bonus bets if you don't win. There's also a Pro Football Odds Boost token. You can boost your Christmas spirit with a Pro Football Odds Boost token. Use your token to net a bigger payout on a winning holiday football bet. So you've got games on Christmas Day. You've got a No Sweat token and an Odds Boost token that you can use for those games. They will be valid on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. So sign up for BetMGM, use the code CFB, and make this one legendary with BetMGM. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. U.S. promotional offers are not available in New York, Nevada, Ontario, or Puerto Rico. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER in the U.S. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 in New York. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP in Arizona. Call 1-800-327-5050 in Massachusetts. Call 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa or 1-800-981-0023 in Puerto Rico. First bet offer for new customers only, subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Don't forget, if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use the bonus code CFB and get your $1,500 first bet offer today. Welcome to Andy and Ari on 3. Was that the holiday remix of the theme song? The Christmas mix? Ari's muted. He's not even saying anything.
I said, who did that? Was that Riverboy?
I think I producer River with I believe that's the Christmas Trap remix of the Andy and Ari theme song. And I love it. I love it.
I think I got to get up and get me some eggnog or something. I don't know. Find a fireplace or something, man.
Well, I will tell you, I have fallen down the Christmas Trap remix rabbit hole. If you've not done that, just Christmas Trap music, enter it on your music service, let the playlist run.
Andy, I'm not sure you're aware of this. There's been a lot of really interesting Christmas music remixes online that have been floating around that I've been into.
I've seen a few. Yes.
Yeah.
From our friends in different countries. Yes, it's amazing. We're going to hear those sleigh bells jingling and tingling too.
I know that we're 2 days removed from Christmas, but I do want to say that I am very, very thankful to be here, to be doing this with you and to have our people here. And I just hope everybody has an amazing holiday season.
Yes. I also, because look, we're going to be doing shows. We'll have a Wednesday show because Michigan still doesn't have a coach. There's a chance Michigan might have a coach by Christmas. We'll see. Jeff Brom is playing in a bowl game. As this show drops, Jeff Brom will be playing in a bowl game. We think he might be a legitimate candidate for the Michigan job. So we may have news on that, but we have a show Wednesday. We're also going to have a short show Thursday. Marshall, the Texas A&M fan who sent the hardest mailbag question we ever had to answer, has sent us an update. So we will talk about that on Thursday's show. It's wild. It's not what I expected. Let's put it that way. It's not at all what I expected to happen. But Marshall sent us an update, so we will break that down on Thursday's show. We understand you may be with your family at Christmas. But we also understand you're probably running around traveling. On Friday, you may be running around returning gifts. So we got shows for you. Don't you worry. We're going to talk some bowl games today. One of the games that we're talking about is happening on Saturday. That's the Pop-Tarts Bowl. That is Georgia Tech and BYU. If you haven't seen the helmets with the sprinkles on them yet, they are spectacular. The mascot out of the protein Pop-Tart. Have you seen the jacked protein Pop-Tart mascot, Ari?
I have. Yeah, they're raising the stakes this year for sure. They're getting better every year. And I will say, we did have a lot of serious discussions about the Pop-Tart Bowl 2 weeks ago after the CFP reveal. It is a masterclass of what every brand who sponsors a bowl game should be doing, because we would not – it is talked about more than any other bowl game that's not a college football playoff bowl, and it is because of the brand, not because of the game.
And the thing is, the bowl people, the people who run bowl games, they complain so much about how their product has changed in the college football playoff era. And they whine about, all this is hurting our business. Look at what the Pop-Tarts Bowl is doing. All you have to do is be creative. All you have to do is have some fun. They have fun. The people in Charlotte, the Duke's Mayo Bowl, they also do a great job. Like, they make sure that there's a reason you want to watch. And Georgia Tech BYU is a good matchup anyway. But I love the ritual the ritual sacrifice of an anthropomorphic breakfast pastry. I mean, it's what we're all there for.
Andy, I don't know if I'm making this up or if I saw this somewhere, but I think I read last year that Pop-Tarts sales went through the roof too. Like, it actually worked in terms of their bottom line.
Well, and that game last year was a banger, because that was the one where Cam Ward played the first half for Miami and they were winning against Iowa State, and then he's out in the second half and Emory Williams comes in and Iowa State comes back, and it was a good game. So
it actually worked out well for them, because when you think about storylines and a reason why a human being who likes college football would tune into the game, you had a quarterback chasing a record who was going to be a pretty high draft pick. You had the controversy of him coming out. You had to look at the future, which then opened the door about what Miami is going to do at the quarterback position. You had an exciting ending. That was the perfect bowl game in the modern era to me. Because listen, we're not all going to pretend. No one's pretending anymore that these games mattered. We used to pretend that they did before the CFP, or that there was some sort of, accomplishment to be gleaned off of winning that game. And I'm not saying that people don't feel good about winning a game, but in terms of, what people are probably looking for more in these bowl seasons now more than ever, it's not a validation of the season. It's a reassurance or a litmus test for where you're headed in the future. And if you can throw some Pop-Tarts grab ass around to make it better and more entertaining and frankly funny, I think that's probably the best model for posting or throwing a really good bowl game in 2025 and going into 26.
Now we have to talk about the team that opted out of Pop-Tarts grab ass, though, and that's Notre Dame. And so we've talked all about Notre Dame skipping the bowl season, missing the playoff. We've talked that to death. What we do need to talk about now is something that it's kind of been bubbling under the surface, and it was agent chatter for a while. And with agent chatter, you never know, because agents really want movement to happen. They want coaches to move around because it helps agents move their coaches into other jobs, get new contracts, get bigger salaries, that sort of thing. But now we've seen it from the NFL side too. So Mike Garafolo from the NFL Network on Sunday, talking about the New York Giants opening, mentioned Marcus Freeman as a prime candidate for the New York Giants job, which that's something that's kind of been burbling in the agent world for a few weeks now. If you're Notre Dame, are you worried about this, Ari?
Oh, yeah. I mean, what's the one thing that can happen that can turn this Notre Dame against the world mentality that's kind of happening right now up onto its head? I mean, losing the main person that's involved in this, your coach, your North Star, your anchor, right? reports are reports, and we had heard about them, and it seemed like unlikely. But from Marcus Freeman's perspective, if he has a personal goal or it is attractive to him to try the NFL and become a person who lives in that world, he has a complete free roll at potentially coaching one of the biggest franchises in the NFL in one of the biggest markets. Because even if things don't go well, he would be a top candidate at the college ranks the second that didn't go well, right? Like, do you view it that way?
Yes, agreed. Now, I would argue, and this is what's interesting because this is the Giants' job is the one we're talking about. There will be other NFL jobs open, and we can extend this into, will any college coach be considered in the NFL other than Marcus Freeman? We do think Marcus Freeman will be considered for NFL jobs, but the Giants' job used to be a really good job. Like in the NFL, we talk about ownership matters, and it's sort of like the athletic department mattering in college. You know, Notre Dame is a great job because the Notre Dame athletic department gets it. They think football is important. The administration and the athletic department pull in one direction. That's what makes Notre Dame such a good job. The Giants' job used to be one of those jobs, and now it's really not been. The Mara family has not exactly been a great steward in the last 10, 12 years. I mean, they had that great run. They won those Super Bowls, and then they're kind of just cycling through. They want to keep the GM who we all watched, you know, fritter away Saquon Barkley on that HBO show. Mm-hmm. So I don't know.
That was wild. That was one of the wildest things I think I've ever seen.
I was like, how did you let a camera in there? What are you doing?
Yeah, I know. I was like, this is bad. It's like, hey, my wife's leaving me. Can you bring the camera crew in? You know,
I mean, like, wild. I don't know Joe Shane at all, but I felt terrible for him in that moment. But yeah, I also wouldn't, if I was going to be the head coach, would want him working there. So, yeah, and he's still also there.
Saquon had already left, right, when that show aired. So we had the 2020 vision of the whole thing too while we were watching it, which made it even more cringe.
Yes. So this is me saying, Marcus Freeman, if it's that one, I don't think you should take that one. Well, but I do understand
NFL jobs, Andy, and I'm always very curious about this because, like, from my perspective, and I don't pretend to be an NFL expert, but I think that you know and have been around. You've covered the Jaguars for a little bit, like, you know more about it. But from the thought process with the administrative pool and everybody going in the right direction and things, it seems a little bit even more important in the NFL because the coaches have less control over the personnel. Like in college, you need fundraising, you need your AD to support you, you want coaching salaries for your assistants, all the things. And if you don't have a administration that's willing to support that, that's going to be an issue for you. But in the NFL, if your GM and your coach or your owner, you know, gets into these things, you don't even get to control who's on the field. And that's a major part of it. That said, if you're taking a coaching job in the NFL, how much do you take role on who's on the team? Because I'm actually surprised at how bad the Giants have been. Now, Malik Neighbors is out, but if you think Jackson Dart is the right person, you know, they have a really good defensive line. They have Neighbors coming back. I think they're not that far away. I'm a little bit wary of whether he
might not be back next season
forward. But he was electric in his short time there. Like, if Jackson Dart is the guy, then I know that the jury's maybe still out on that. Yeah, you look at the Giants roster and go, this is kind of an attractive place to go because you don't usually get to take over a place that usually when teams stink in the NFL to that extent, they don't have as many good players as the Giants have.
I just look at them cycling through Joe Judge and Ben McAdoo and then Brian Dable and never quite being on the same page and just saying, I don't, because Notre Dame is as on the same page as you're going to get. And Notre Dame hasn't always been like that. Mm-hmm. But Notre Dame is like that now. Notre Dame is so aligned right now. And in fact, what you just saw, Notre Dame versus the world, was an example of that. People may not have liked it, but it's an example of an athletic department in complete alignment. Notre Dame also is in a very advantageous spot when it comes to the college football playoff. We've got the situation where they now, depending on how the format shakes out next year, but if it's 12 or 14, they are in if they're in the top 12. or in the top 14, depending on the number of the teams. And I think this is one of the best jobs in college football. They're going to pay Marcus Freeman like it's one of the best jobs in college football. And that brings me to Eric Hansen's column. So Eric Hansen writes for Blue and Gold. Eric's been covering Notre Dame for a long, long time and knows the program really well. And Eric wrote about basically why he thinks Marcus Freeman will stay at Notre Dame, why, even if he entertains the thought of going to the NFL, that why he probably sticks around. Mentions Pete Bavacqua, the athletic director. And Pete joked about this in that press conference that we talked about last week. Pete joked about Marcus. He said, I wouldn't be shocked if somebody wants to put Marcus in a movie with Leo DiCaprio. He's like, everybody wants Marcus. And that's sort of a joke at the rest of the college football coaching carousel where we all said, hey, you call Marcus and have him say no. Like, he would have been the top of everybody's list. So he's obviously viewed as one of the best coaches in college football right now. He has one of the best jobs in college football right now. And I do think Notre Dame will make sure they give him what he needs to stay. The only reason he'd leave is if he just wants to be in the NFL. I don't know. And that's a Marcus Freeman choice. That's not anybody else's decision there.
Yeah. As the sport evolved and the playoff expanded, and now the playoff is going to have rules that favor Notre Dame's quest to get in, would you say that there's been a program in college football that has had a bigger glow up in terms of its positioning and its ability to compete than Notre Dame in the last 4 years? Because Notre Dame, think about where they were 5 years ago. And maybe part of that was our misunderstanding of the program because they didn't have a coach that could recruit at this level. Because the recruiting class that Notre Dame just signed.
What you're saying is it's Marcus Freeman. The reason this has happened is Marcus Freeman, because Brian Kelly, we thought, Brian Kelly is doing really well. He's got Notre Dame at its ceiling. All it took was Brian Kelly leaving, underachieving at LSU, and Marcus Freeman surpassing very quickly what Brian Kelly had done at Notre Dame to realize, wait, maybe Marcus Freeman's a better coach than Brian Kelly.
Yeah, and I have a hard time because I think it is Marcus Freeman, but how much was it system changing, playoff expanding, and how much was it the coaches changing? Because
I
Notre
think
Dame
a
is
lot the coaches changing.
Yeah, so you think if Marcus Freeman would have taken the job in 2016, they would have been more competitive in playoff games?
Would he have been ready for the job in 2016? I mean, he would have been like 31
I just mean like this
old.
version of Marcus Freeman. This version of Marcus Freeman.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I do. Because we've talked about this. Their roster is so much deeper than it was before. I go back to, was it 2018 they made the playoff, and when they're playing Clemson, and they had a really good team at Notre Dame that year, but it was one of those situations where if a key player went down, you were in trouble. Julian Love gets hurt in that Clemson game, and it's over. The game was over. They just picked on the guy who replaced him, ended the game right there. Last year, they had multiple key players get hurt. Like offensive line injuries throughout the year. They lost a key defensive lineman.
They got better.
In the last play, like last series of the Indiana game in the playoff, and they still got better because they're deep. They're really deep, and that's Marcus Freeman. Brian Kelly could not create a roster that deep, and Marcus Freeman has been able to.
Yeah. Just so everybody knows, I don't know how many people who listen to the show are recruiting nerds, but I would suspect a lot of you are. Notre Dame just signed the number 2 overall class in the Rivals industry rankings. They signed 4 5-star prospects in a single class, and maybe part of that is NIL, but that's the most 5 stars I think Notre Dame has signed in a single class in the history of the internet rankings. And that isn't something that happened because the playoff expanded. Like, that happened because a coach recruited at a high level. So when you say a lot of this is Marcus, I think that maybe we were the ones, or I was the one that made a mistake in saying that Brian Kelly had him at their ceiling. We just thought it was their ceiling because of academic.
We all, I think most of us did. I think most of us did. And last year disabused me of that notion. And now you see what he's doing even further in the recruiting process. And then thinking what's interesting here, Notre Dame is in a better position in this era with the transfer portal, because the kind of player who picks Notre Dame wants the Notre Dame degree. So you've actually got a better chance of developing somebody because there's a better chance of them staying. Like if they don't play their first year, they're not as likely to just bail. They're gonna sit back and say, okay, can I get a degree from this place? And then if it doesn't work out, maybe transfer then. But you got a chance to develop somebody. And I think you look at those offensive linemen that they have. Those guys, they're willing to come and understand they might have to sit for a year or two before they really get to play. And the fact that they keep reloading there tells you that they got something really special going. So one actually, since you brought up the recruiting class, we should mention this. This is something that was news this week at Notre Dame. So Teddy Gerard is the quarterback that they were signing, or they were going to sign in the class of 2027. He's reclassifying to 2026. So I don't think you do that if you think the coach is leaving for the New York Giants.
Yeah. I think it's a smart decision too, to enroll early now. Players are more able to play earlier in their careers, but if you enroll when you're supposed to be a senior, that allows you to sit for a season, learn the system, and not lose your age as you wait for your turn while also making money. Like, I don't know. What's the downside to enrolling early? Missing prom?
Well, listen, I spent the second half of my senior year wishing I was not in high school anymore. So I all these guys who leave in December and enroll, I get it. The whole year, missing your whole senior year, I don't know. That's a little different for me, but it's everybody needs to run their own race. Everybody needs to do what's best for them. Now, remember, Notre Dame also, because I had serious senioritis.
I don't know if I'm
once my senior football season was over, I didn't need to be there anymore. I already knew, like, I knew I could pick a college. Like, I had my SAT scores were in, my grades were essentially in, so I could just pick a college. Like back then, I wasn't a big time football recruit, so I was going to be picking a college in the spring anyway. So if I'd have been a big time football recruit, I would have already known where I was going to college. So I would have been like, as soon as football season was over, I'm out.
Well, you were a football player, so maybe that's a little bit different than me. Or like a player that was thinking about playing in college. My senior year was awesome because my grades were in. I think I had half days half the time because I did summer school classes when I didn't need to. And it was like a year of vacation for me, where it was like I got to go to school and hang out with my friends and see pretty girls, but never stress.
I wasn't built for vacation back then. I like vacations now, but I wasn't built for it back then.
You're not. You know what, Andy?
I needed structure.
And I don't know if you need to hear this from a friend. You're not built for vacation now. You're a worker, dude.
I don't have a real job, Ari. I'm not putting roofs on houses, buddy. So
yeah, I know. But you're not built for vacation.
Speaking of Lake Mary High School, by the way, where I went to school, Notre Dame also has another 26 quarterback commit from their Noah Grubbs, who is Lake Mary's quarterback, who just led the Rams to a 7A state title. You've seen the last play of the state championship game because it was SportsCenter's #1 play last week. But yeah, so that they are building for the future. They are building, and Marcus Freeman is building as if he's going to be there, is the point to this. I don't know if he will do anything. I don't know if it will change anything, but I am fascinated by this process. And so I want to expand out the window, but first, before that, I want to offer all the Notre Dame fans, and I know we've offered you Modelo's quite a bit over the last few weeks, but grab yourself a Modelo, crack a Modelo. You may have a tense moment or two after the NFL season ends and this job, coaching carousel spins a little bit. I think he's going to stay. I think Freeman's going to stay, and I think so. Crack a Modelo now if you're stressing about it a little bit. Crack a Modelo to celebrate when he says he's going to stay. But when in doubt, crack a Modelo. Grab yourself a Modelo. Stay game day ready all season long, all off season long too, because there's never a bad time to celebrate with Modelo.
I don't know if this is a good segue to the show or if I should have said this before the Modelo reading, because if Marcus Freeman leaves for the Giants, like in What's the timeline for this? Would this be like in 2 weeks?
It would be, but maybe a little bit later than that. So the NFL season has 2 more weekends. The Giants are obviously, they're not going to the playoffs, so they will be done a week from Sunday, and then they can have a coaching. They could hire Marcus Freeman at any time if that's who they wanted to hire. Obviously, they're probably going to look at guys who are still who are in the NFL, and you can't do that until after the season ends. So it's probably going to go past that. But I also think that there's a chance other coaches get involved in this, other college coaches, because there's not a ton of hot NFL coordinators right now. So remember, we had the Diana Rossini report that Steve Sarkisian's agents very quickly poo-pooed that Steve Sarkisian might be interested in an NFL job. And you had the Desmond Howard taking his garbage out Instagram video where he's like, I don't know, maybe something going on in Texas. Maybe Sark wants to go to the NFL. And I found it interesting, Ari, over the weekend that Texas fired Pete Kwiatkowski as their defensive coordinator and then hired Will Muschamp, former Texas coach in waiting, former Florida and South Carolina head coach, as the defensive coordinator, because that seems to me is like it's insurance in case an NFL team were to scoop up Sark.
Well, this isn't really just a Notre Dame discussion, because if the hire does happen after the portal, at least you have that. But like, we're going to talk more about Michigan on this episode.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And they're having a hard time based on the timing of the Sharon Moore firing, right? It might wind up working out for them, but the candidates that they've been, rumored to be involved with are all the same candidates that were rumored to be involved with every job. And a lot of the dominoes have fallen. If Michigan goes out and gets their guy here in the next, week or so, maybe even sooner than that, and then Notre Dame or another program like Notre Dame loses their coach in January, like, what do you do? Like, we're like at the bare bones of this thing here.
Notre Dame seems pretty easy, presuming this is not Michigan's choice, and I don't think it is. There was a guy who was in the mix in a lot of places and talked to a lot of places, and he was definitely in the mix at Florida. Clark Lee at Vanderbilt. Clark Lee was Notre Dame's defensive coordinator before he went to Vanderbilt. Now, Vanderbilt's his alma mater, Nashville's his hometown. I get that. But if Notre Dame calls, I think you would answer. He would thrive there. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say I do not think Marcus Freeman leaves. I don't know if Sark would either. But I'm gonna say this, because there may be some college coaches we're not even thinking about in terms of maybe looking at the NFL. I'm going to read you the possible jobs that could be open, because right now we have the Giants, we have the Titans. I don't think there are any other actual open jobs, but they're gonna be more open jobs. And so I want you to think about this, and then we'll talk about the number of, or the scarcity of, hot coordinators in the NFL, because usually there's like 6 of them just waiting. It's really like 3 this year. And so it's kind of like the college carousel, where there were more jobs than people that you thought would be able to get them. So, all right, the jobs, the Bengals could open. The Cardinals could open. The Browns could open. The Titans have opened. The Giants have opened. The Falcons could open. The Dolphins could open. Now, I know the owner has said that he's bringing Mike McDaniel back, but again, if you watched them play the other day, you're not so sure about that. The Raiders could open. If Pete Carroll's like, why am I doing this? What am I even doing here? That's 8 jobs. We haven't even, what if Andy Reid retired or something like that? So 8 jobs. The hot coordinator list in the NFL is really short this year. You got Jeff Hafley, former Boston College coach, who's currently the Green Bay Packers defensive coordinator. Clint Kubiak, the Seahawks offensive coordinator, and Jesse Mentor, the Chargers defensive coordinator. Those are the guys who are viewed as maybe kind of next man up potential head coaches. There's talk that Vance Joseph, who's the Broncos defensive coordinator now, but has been the head coach there before, could get a second chance as a head coach. That's 4 people. I just named 8 jobs. Like, some college coaches are going to get called here.
Yeah, that's wild. Andy, I want you to explain something to me, like I'm 12, because I think it'll be important to the audience. So when you bring up Clark Lee, who just recently signed an extension at Vanderbilt,
yep.
What does signing an extension mean for coaches like Kenny Dillingham, who just announced, a few days ago that he did, all these coaches that signed extensions, Eli Drinkwitz, guys that we perceive to have come off the board. Why is it that Clark Lee would now be available for Notre Dame? And does it just mean it would be more expensive?
It usually means it would be more expensive, but like I'll point out it really has to do with your leverage. And the thing is, if you're really wanted, which a lot of these guys people were very interested in them, you have a lot of leverage. And so if you have a lot of leverage, it may not be more expensive. Like Eli Drinkwitz, I don't believe his buyout to leave went down at all or went up at all. I think it's either $4 or $5 million. I think it's exactly where it was before. He's just getting more money from Missouri and more years on the back end.
So really, when you think that, someone signed an extension, they're off the board. In theory, it feels like that, but in actual, if some circumstance changes, you're still able to leave for the same amount in some cases.
Correct. And it's really, you're looking at the jobs you're looking at, and you're saying, I would rather stay here than have those. If something new comes along, and your buyout to leave is your buyout to leave. And if someone is willing to pay it, then you can go. So that's all it is. It's not like you're suddenly locked up and you're never leaving again. As long as someone can pay that buyout. Now, if somebody signed an extension that did not have one of those buyouts that said you are bound to this contract until it's over, or until both sides mutually agree to break it, then you'd be stuck. But that's not the case with these guys because they have lots of leverage usually when they do these deals.
Yeah, and when they have the leverage, the school is giving more money while not protecting itself. They're hoping that the more money will keep them there, but in theory, that's not always the thing that keeps someone somewhere.
Correct. So that's why, yes, if Notre Dame suddenly opened,
it's a bad deal. It's a bad deal. Clark Lee
would be it's a terrible deal for them, but they don't have any leverage, especially in this market, Ari. It's the same, and it's the same thing with the NFL jobs. If they come calling, you're going to see college coaches get some massive new deals, because they're scared to death. Because it's sort of like what we were asking with Alabama when Michigan wanted to talk to Kalen DeBoer. And again, I don't think that's going to be an issue anymore. But when Michigan did, you said, okay, who does Alabama hire if he leaves? Because it's just the same names that we just went through with the whole coaching carousel with Penn State and LSU and Florida. Like, who do you hire?
If I were a school, and maybe, again, I'm just not appreciating how dire situations are and how much leverage comes into play, I would say, I'm committing to you long term.
Yep.
X more money to prove that my heart.
Taking the other job, Ari. Thanks. Nice talking to you.
I haven't even finished what I was going to say.
It doesn't matter. You don't have any leverage.
But I'm just saying, I'm going to give you a raise. It would be nice if you showed me by accepting the terms of a larger buyout that you're here with me.
This is Jimmy Sexton. Hey, Jimmy, what do you think of that? No. Jimmy says no. Jimmy says, you're going to give me the raise and we're going to keep the buyout the same.
That's right. If I were the school.
If you're the school, you better have another candidate ready. You better have a person you're ready to bring in instead. And this I would argue is the issue with schools. This is the reason they've been knocked in the creek so many times by agents. Athletic directors are really bad at realizing when they only have a replacement level coach. Now, we say this, producer Rivers playing Notre Dame B-roll. Notre Dame does not have a replacement level coach. Notre Dame has an excellent coach who they should do everything to keep. Other schools, maybe not so much.
Other schools should say, you know what? Then fine. You keep the buyout the same. We're keeping the salary the same. See ya.
And if that means you leave, bye. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You call the bluff.
You signing an extension for more money isn't showing me. I'm just paying you more. You're not doing anything for me in this scenario. So
Correct.
if you feel like you need to keep the buyout low because you want to leave, then this extension does nothing for me, and I'm not giving it to you.
Yeah. So ADs, have your list ready. Have your list ready, and be willing to let that guy walk. If you really don't want to be mortgaged to that, if you don't want to mortgage your whole future on this person, be ready to let them walk.
And if you don't have a replacement level head coach, and it's proven the way that it's proven with Marcus Freeman, then just back up the brakes truck, which is why I think you
give
see
them what they want.
Pete Pavakwa saying during a public news conference that Marcus Freeman will always be amongst the highest paid coaches in the sport because they know what they have. But I think that it is funny because if you actually look back at a lot of these contract extensions, it is mediocre to average coaches a lot of times, or maybe slightly above average coaches taking advantage of the entity as if they are Nick Saban.
Yeah, if you're and the thing is, like, that can backfire on the coach too. I mean, financially it doesn't backfire, but in terms of job success, it can backfire. Look at Mark Stoops. He goes after the Texas A&M job. They're going to give it to him. Then their board revolts. That was the end of Mark Stoops at Kentucky. Whether he knew it or not, that was the end.
Yeah. Do you think that if Mark Stoops didn't have this insanely high buyout, that he would be the coach at Texas A&M right now?
No, it wasn't the buyout.
I didn't think it was.
He wasn't expensive. Remember, there's two buyouts. There's the buyout if we fire you and the buyout if you leave. The buyout if you leave was not the issue. The issue was having to guarantee him so much money at Texas A&M.
Because of the whole,
because he already had this big contract at Kentucky. So, okay, now I get your question. Yes, that's why. That Kentucky had given him such a big contract. You're not leaving unless you get a bigger one. So the Texas A&M board was like, okay, we're about to guarantee Mark Stoops the same amount we guaranteed Jimbo Fisher, who had won a national title.
Yeah.
And
I also think that Mark Stoops' name at the time, right or wrong, carried the weight to pay that much. Which is why we thought that Kentucky was the best job in America.
Yeah. And now we know it's Minnesota because Mark Stoops got fired in Kentucky. Now, he got a lot of money to get fired, but it's still Minnesota.
Is Minnesota the squad? Is that the new squad?
Somebody wrote in on a mailbag show and suggested Minnesota as the next one. I think so because PJ keeps threatening to leave. They keep giving him raises. And I don't recall them being in the Big Ten championship game anytime recently.
Minnesota is pretty cool because Minneapolis is also a badass city.
Great town. Yeah. Great town. All right. We go from Notre Dame in the NFL to we're going to go to Orlando.
So sorry.
Okay.
I wasn't with you yesterday because I was on an airplane. It is absolutely insane. Insane that they're not playing that game.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that.
No, that would be the Notre Dame-USC game. We talked about that on the show yesterday. They're not going to be playing it for at least the next 4 years, it sounds like. I thought Petros Papadakis hosts Petros and Money, one of the biggest shows in LA, the biggest sports talk shows in LA, former USC running back. I think he said it really well. He's like, may as well start playing UC Davis every year. Like, what are we even doing here? Like, he painted this as a failure of the entire university leadership to understand what's going on here. Now, Notre Dame and USC released a joint statement saying, hey, we know it's special to you. We're going to try to get it back. But listen, as the years go on, how important is it going to be for them? Because it clearly wasn't important enough.
Well, I mean, the hardest part about canceling the series is canceling the series.
Yeah.
Whether they say they're going to work on it or not, whatever, that doesn't make anybody feel better. They already did the hard part.
Yeah.
And they don't have to break their backs to try to make it work again in the future because they already did the hard part. It's
exactly
awful.
Yeah. It sucks. It's terrible for college football. It's terrible for USC. It's terrible for Notre Dame. And I said it yesterday. Like, I get why USC felt the way they felt, why they wanted the game moved to September. I get it. It doesn't make it any less crappy. It sucks.
Yeah. And I find it a little bit. Now, Notre Dame did just sign a home with BYU.
Right.
It doesn't make me feel better but at least from the college football playoff resume inclusion standpoint, at least it's not a total loss.
From a competitiveness standpoint, they went and found another good competitive game, and that's good. I'm glad they did that and didn't replace that game with and Notre Dame needed to. It's like, because Notre Dame does not have an SEC or a Big Ten schedule to fall back on. They can't say, well, we just got a hard conference schedule. They have to go out and fight in hard games.
Yeah, because like from a need standpoint, you would make the case that Notre Dame needed it more based on, especially after what happened this year. But from a need standpoint, I think the fans and me and you needed it more. And I'm really upset about it. And every single year that goes by, another domino falls and the sport changes a little bit more. And it's going to be unrecognizable if this shit keeps happening. I hate it. Well,
when the Super League comes, they'll play each other again. So you got that going for you. We go from one game Notre Dame's not playing to another game Notre Dame's not playing. We're going to go to Orlando and talk Pop-Tarts Bowl. But first, our friends from Panini America have sent us some beautiful, beautiful things. This is the Panini Prism Draft Pick set. This is the NFL players in their college uniforms, college players, current college players in their college uniforms. PaniniAmerica.net is where you go to start your collection of your favorite college and NFL stars. I'm going to rip a pack right now of Panini Prism Draft Picks. Oh, one of my favorites. First round draft pick from this year, having a great rookie season. Will Campbell, LSU tackle, now with the Patriots. Trey Harris, former Ole Miss wide receiver. Jordan Birch, Oregon edge rusher. Trevor Etienne, Georgia back. And then South Carolina running back Rocket Sanders. I love these cards, Ari. They are beautiful.
Andy,
the Jordan Birch is the purple.
Andy stood in my kitchen as I opened up 50 packs, and my daughter was asking me a question. I was like, can you get away from me right now? Like, I'm working on important things. Terrible father when Panini's in the room. I love this product because there are actual major hits.
You pulled an Arch Manning autograph out of one of these boxes,
I did,
right?
And I'm tried to send it to River, but I have bad service right now. I will post the picture of it to my Twitter, and I'll send it to River for the future show. But
I saw it. It was glorious.
And we posted the picture of the Arch Manning that I pulled in the concourse in Norman on Friday night. So it is the best product, and they have the Color Blast in it, which is the most beautiful card ever assembled or ever made ever in the history of the product or of the industry. And if you find a card in there with snake skin outline, the very next pack has a Color Blast in it, and you can get Jeremiah Smith, Caleb Downs. I believe that there's just about every NIL player that's in the product has one. There's Drew Brees one, and it's just a picture of a player playing football on a white card, and then colorful powder behind him, and it's beautiful. And I'll show you guys, as we continue to talk about this. But it's one of my favorite.
Well, and I may pull one from one of these packs too. I've got a few packs to.
Here's the thing.
Open another one. Want to open another one?
But
let's open another.
Here's the thing. I don't know. We both got sent an allotment from Panini. There are, I believe, 12 boxes in a case, and there's one of those cards in every case. I opened up 4 boxes, and I didn't get one. So, I think that you're opening up the actual blaster boxes, and you're not opening up the hobby boxes right now. So you're not.
Well, I have a couple blaster boxes, and I have a couple hobby boxes too. So Derek Harmon, Oregon D tackle, got an Elijah Roberts from SMU, got an autograph here. Oh, new recruits Will Howard from Ohio State and Kansas State, of course. Tyler Booker from Alabama, who's a rookie for the Cowboys this year. And, of course, everybody knows this guy because he is trying to break the NFL single-season sack record. It's Myles Garrett playing for Texas A&M.
It's such a rush. Thank you, Panini, for sending us the stuff. We will be ripping these packs and showing you guys all about it. But if you're interested in the hobby, Panini's the place.
PaniniAmerica.net to start your collection today. Now, you can also start your Pop-Tarts collection because they have many flavors that they're pumping in this game. BYU will be playing Georgia Tech. we're of course going to talk about Pop-Tarts flavors as much as we're going to talk about football. There's a cookie dough Pop-Tart now, Ari. I haven't tried it yet, but it is high on my list of things to do when I go to the grocery store today to sample the cookie dough Pop-Tart.
You and I are in complete agreement too that cookie dough is the best ice cream flavor, right?
You and my son are. I am. No, I do love cookie dough ice cream. It is not my absolute utter favorite flavor, but I do love cookie dough.
I think cookie dough tastes better than a baked cookie. Like, you know, those like cookie dough rolls that you buy at the store from Toll House. I'll hold that thing like this and eat it like that.
Well, when you come to my house, I will make you the scratch made. I make the best chocolate chip cookies on earth. I don't know if you knew that, but I will make you a bowl of batter, and you can eat the batter if you want before I bake the cookies.
Well, I know you're a human. While you're making your best cookies on the face of the earth, you do taste the batter, right?
Well, you have to.
So what tastes?
You have to make sure you did it right.
Batter or the finished product?
My cookies are the best on earth, so I would say the finished product.
All right, I'll be the judge.
Grandmother's recipe.
Yeah, I'll be the judge of that. But yeah, I'm a trash panda. So like, if you just put like those little pre-made cookie dough squares from Toll House in the fridge, I'd rather eat them just like that than put them in the. But my mom used to tell me you could get salmonella from that. Which is that made up? That's made up. Right?
No, it's the same thing with anything eating raw eggs. That there is a danger there. Like the bodybuilders who do the 12 raw eggs and just drink them. You're not. They say you should be careful with that, but I'm just gonna let everybody do what they do. Do
it sounds made up. If you're eating
I eat the cookie dough. I'm okay.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
So
yeah.
Here's what I like about this game, Ari. Besides the sprinkles on the helmets, Haynes King versus Bear Bachmeier. I feel like Haynes King after this game should he should have some sort of object or totem. Like, I don't know what signifies a really tough quarterback. Like, I want him to hand that to Bear Bachmeier at the end of this game. Like, he's passing the torch to Bear Bachmeier to be the battering ram of a quarterback for next year.
Maybe it's like a stuffed animal of a dog.
Yeah, just a dog. Well, you can't say that for Haynes King. He's a Georgia Tech player, but yes, I can't wait to see this game. These two offenses, they're going to run the ball at you. Both these teams value line of scrimmage play. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. And my understanding of this game is that like BYU is out for blood.
Yes.
Which makes it interesting.
Well, they want to show that the CFP committee was wrong. It's the opposite of the Notre Dame thing, that both felt like they were unjustly left out, and BYU wants to play and prove that. Notre Dame wants to not play and prove that.
Yeah, and I think that's an admirable thing to want to prove, and I personally like what BYU did in response to that better than Notre Dame. And I wish that they were playing Notre Dame, honestly. But if you're going to sub in another team that's not Notre Dame, how about those gritty Yellow Jackets that have similar helmets? And I also believe
do you think they went to Georgia Tech? They're like, we need an ACC team with gold helmets, and we can't take Boston College. Georgia Tech, come on.
You're on deck. I think it's like actually like a burn because Georgia Tech is who they were playing in the movie Rudy.
That's true. That's right.
See, there's connections. There's levels to this. Chess checkers, man.
Exactly. So BYU's a 4.5-point favorite in this game. Listen, picking bowl games that are not college football playoff games, probably a bit of a fool's errand because you don't know who's going to play or how long they're going to play or how seriously either team is taking the game. I think, Ari, you've pointed out BYU will be taking this game very seriously. I think Georgia Tech will too. I think the way Georgia Tech played all season tells you they're going to be serious about this.
Yeah, I'm going to go for the team that feels hurt, though. That feels betrayed by the committee. Yeah.
Take the Cougars to cover?
Yeah. I mean, listen, I'll bet on anything. This is the craziest stuff to bet on. This is not gambling advice, guys. This is just we're doing our best here.
This is for fun.
I don't know who's playing. Yeah, I don't know who's playing and for how long they're playing, but I know that BYU was upset about the CFP decision on one hand, but also upset at not being able to play Notre Dame because that would have been a more legitimizing opponent. So my understanding from their perspective is they're out, like I said, for blood, and they want to prove something. And I will take any team that wants to prove something in a non-playoff game.
So I'm gonna take the Yellow Jackets in this one for all those reasons you just said, which make perfect logical sense. In the bowl game, nothing makes logical sense. And this is the old Champ Sports Bowl. Like there was always some crazy stuff in this game. Like it's not just the Pop-Tarts piece of it. This game historically has been really interesting. Like that there was that Notre Dame Florida State one years ago where Florida State started all the freshmen on the offensive line and got just destroyed in the first half and came back and won in the second half. And like that was the foundation of the 2013 national title team. Like there've been some really fun matchups in this game. This is another one. I am going to take Georgia Tech to cover here. You're going to give me 4.5 points. I'll take it. They play close games. They've lived dangerously this season. I will take them to cover. Let us move to the ReliaQuest Bowl. Let's go to Tampa. So that game, by the way, the Pop-Tarts Bowl, Saturday, 3:30 ABC. Let's go to the ReliaQuest Bowl in Tampa. Iowa, Vanderbilt. Vandy's a 5.5 point favorite. This game is on New Year's Eve at noon on ESPN. Diego Pavia's last game as a college player. Now he said he's not playing any more college football. I guess there are multiple lawsuits pending that could change that, but he has said he's done. And then, of course, the Iowa team that dragged some really good teams down into the mud this year, but couldn't quite get over the hump. These are two teams that if a bounce of the ball goes a little bit different, they might be in the college football playoff.
Yeah, the bounce would have had to be a lot different for Iowa, I think. But the bounce for Vanderbilt, not so much.
I don't know, though. I mean, the Indiana and the Oregon games were pretty damn close.
Yeah, they would have to bounce twice, right?
Yeah, maybe.
I think that Vanderbilt would match up better with one of the better teams in the country than Iowa would. Is that a fair thing to say?
I agree, and it's because of Diego Pavia, because he's a dynamic quarterback who changes everything you can do offensively, and I think that's what Iowa hoped it was getting this year, but it just didn't quite work out that way. They got a more dynamic quarterback run game, but they didn't really. Mark Gronowski did not give them a better passing game, and I think Diego Pavia is the X factor here, as he's been for Vanderbilt since he got there.
Yeah. And listen, I'm not going to pretend to know who opted in and out of all these games. There's just too much happening to keep track of all that. But from what I understand about these two teams, Vanderbilt's the play. Because Vanderbilt has proven all year that they can win in multiple ways. I think that they can exist in that Iowa game, even if they get dragged into it and win by 7.
Yeah, no Eli Stowers for Vandy, the great tight end.
Yeah,
he's opting out and getting ready for the draft. But I still think if Diego Pavia is playing and Diego is playing the way he normally plays, even with Iowa's defense being as good as it is, I think Vandy covers here.
Well, the last thing, and I just never got your take on this. The last thing that we heard from Diego Pavia was how he made that social media post that said F the Heisman voters.
Yeah.
And everybody freaked out about it. And I'm like, what the hell? Who cares?
I
even saw one Heisman voter.
This is the guy who pissed on the New Mexico logo when he played for New Mexico State and they were in a bowl game practicing in the New Mexico facility. What did you think he would be? He's exactly who he's told us he was all along. Why are you surprised?
Yeah, a Heisman voter, I don't remember who it was, released a statement or made a comment that, the only thing more classless than that is, I don't know, it was just took himself so seriously and it irked me. It's yeah, F the voters, man. F me.
Yeah. Some people voted for him.
So I did. yeah.
So you're F you, Ari, for voting him number 1. How dare you? That's what he's saying.
No, but I mean, listen, the guy it was a social media post, guys. Relax. He didn't flip
I
a chair
just
over. He didn't act like Kanye in the room. Like, come on.
If you thought Diego Pavia was Mother Teresa, again, I refer you back to him peeing on the New Mexico logo when given the opportunity. Like, this is who he's always been.
Manziel, like, what did you think? Like, he was, and I get it. Like, if you're in the same room as
Johnny Manziel when College Game Day invites him to be the guest picker the night after the Jake Paul Anthony Joshua fight, like that.
Yeah, he just didn't make it. Yeah,
shocking. When people tell you who they are, believe them, guys. That's the lesson here.
Yeah, they made it work though. They made it work, but yeah. Anyway, give me the dog. I'll take the dog every day. I'll lay the points here.
Yeah. Vandy to cover in this one. Okay, let's go to Vegas. Nebraska, Utah. Kyle Whittingham's last game as Utah's head coach. Utah is a 16.5-point favorite. Nebraska, opt-out city.
Yeah.
So
put that together with the spread there, Andy.
The Kyle Whittingham thing is wild to me because he does not want to be leaving. He has said this. This isn't a retirement. Like, if Michigan called him, he'd take the Michigan job. Like, this is a weird one because he's done so much for this program. This is the man who replaced Urban Meyer when Urban Meyer left for Florida. So for 21 years, Kyle Whittingham's been kicking ass at Utah. I think they got to the point where they're ready to move on to Morgan Scalley, who's been the coach in waiting for a while. But Kyle Whittingham, he had a run, that run ended a few years ago, but he had a run where he was just unbeatable in bowl games. Do you think he just runs that back one time for this one and he's like, all right, let's kick the crap out of everybody and remind everybody I know what I'm doing here?
Pretty bizarre scenario. You don't really see 21-year tenured coach walking away from a program and not retiring when things aren't in the gutter very often. Like,
they were good this
year. Yeah. Like I can't remember another instance of that. But then, like, it's funny. We said Will Muschamp's name on the show earlier today. It's like, well, you've got a guy who's been waiting in the wings to take over for what it seems like 5 years now.
Probably longer than that, but like officially 3 years. Yeah.
So I don't know. You don't want to lose your future, I guess, if you're Utah. It's kind of
so your best offensive tackles have opted out. Caleb Lomu and Spencer Fano have opted out.
16.5 points is a lot. Now, when you say Nebraska is opt-out city, are we talking like 15 names? 10?
Well, yeah, but that's the other thing. We also, like, the one that is the headliner wasn't going to play anyway.
Right. And the quarterback that's playing has played now for, 3.5 weeks. So I'll take the points here blindly, Andy, especially because the two best players in the actual game are Utah opt-outs.
Exactly. I think that's a good way to look at it. That said, these things are so weird and you can never predict what's going to happen. But this is where, like, you and I, we flip, because you're actually looking at this from a football perspective. I'm going to look at it from a feelings perspective.
Yeah.
Kyle Whittingham goes out on a high. Utah covers, baby. Yeah. Just going feelings.
Yeah. And I don't know, like, is he going to not coach next year?
Well, if he doesn't get offered anything, what I think he should do, to go back to the game we were just talking about before, he should Jerry Kill this thing. Like, he should become somebody's Jerry Kill. So for those who don't know, Jerry Kill is the former, he was Northern Illinois, then Minnesota, but most recently New Mexico State head coach, where he made that program so much better than it had been. Coached Diego Pavia there. And Jerry Kill, with Tim Beck, the offensive coordinator, went to Vanderbilt. And Diego Pavia followed them to Vanderbilt. And he's a big reason why Vanderbilt's been so good. So if Kyle Whittingham was somebody's Jerry Kill next year, oh God. Like, when BetMGM puts the futures out on whatever team that is, bet the over.
With all due respect to Jerry Kill, who, by the way, major piece of Vanderbilt's success this year. He also didn't take the coordinator job after leaving as the greatest head coach in program history somewhere else, another Power 4 level either.
I mean, he was the greatest New Mexico State head coach in program history.
Yeah. I mean, at 21, are we...
I know. I'm joking.
How long was his tenure, though? Like 3 years?
Yeah. yeah. Kyle Whittingham, 21 years, the best coach Utah ever had, and took him, from a group of 5 wasn't even the term back then. It was non-BCS conference. Took them from a non-BCS conference to a power conference, and just changed the whole complexion of the program. Urban Meyer sort of lit the fuse, but Kyle Whittingham's the one who did the heavy lifting to get Utah where it is. And so, yeah, I will take Kyle Whittingham and Utah to cover this massive spread in the Vegas Bowl. That game's 3:30 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN on New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve is going to be a hell of a day. Ari, you're covering the Cotton Bowl later that night. That's the Miami-Ohio State game.
And I got my credential approval. I know you were concerned about that. I figured it out. Are you proud of me?
I was concerned about you forgetting to apply. That was my concern.
I would have forgotten if you didn't. Yeah.
Before
we get out of here.
In our relationship, like, I feel like my wife is the one who's constantly reminding me of things that I would never remember otherwise, because all I think about is football. And so I'm her in our relationship. Like, I'm sending Ari screenshots of the email. The Cotton Bowl credentialing system is reopened.
In my defense, I'm not the best at email. We used to do the
You're not the best at text messages either. Let's not limit it to email.
In my employee review at The Athletic,
my God.
calendar every year was the same thing. Mitch Light could attest to this. You suck at emails, and your calendar and planning sucks. And like that also is my annual review in my own house, by the way. I'm just not like, I feel like I don't forget things for work. I don't just not show up. I don't.
Right. You don't Johnny football this. Yeah. You always eventually get there.
If I say I'm going to do something, I do it. Like, I'm not an unreliable person. But I do feel like I could be better about, I get overwhelmed with a lot of texts and
no, hold on,
invites and all these
things.
You
could just put the period on the after the word lot. I get overwhelmed with a lot.
Yeah.
But see, I recognize you're a very special talent. Oh, and I recognize that we need to elevate the things you do well, and we help you with the things that you struggle with.
And the credential requesting is hard for me.
Yeah, River and I are more organized when it comes. River and I are more organized when it comes to this stuff. So River and I handle the schedule, handle the planning, make sure the B-roll's ready, and you just show up and shine. That's what we're doing with you.
But I also don't want there to be any underlying resentment behind the scenes about this. I do need to be better about like I have a family calendar and a professional calendar, and I don't keep a calendar in my life. Like, I don't have one.
So you have two calendars you don't update. That's good.
Do you use your phone calendar every day?
Yes.
Like, do you plug stuff into it and stuff?
Yes, and we have a family calendar that if I need the rest of the family to know about it, I make it yellow. If it's just something I need to know about, it's purple.
And then when you do that, does everybody's phone automatically update?
Yes.
You need to.
They don't get the purple stuff. Yeah, they don't get the purple stuff. They only get the yellow stuff. But yes.
Yeah, I will show you. Teach me how to put Britt and I on the same calendar, because
a 4-year-old could do it. So don't worry. I'm sure it'll only take about 2 days to teach. So, all right, one more bowl game. Back to Orlando for the Citrus Bowl. Michigan, Texas. Texas is a 7.5-point favorite. I don't think Will Muschamp is coaching the defense in this game, though. I've watched the GIF of him when he was the Texas DC slamming that whiteboard so many times. I'm pumped.
Yeah, a lot happening here, huh?
Well, the Michigan thing, again, as we discuss this show dropped in the middle of Jeff Brom's bowl game. They're playing Toledo today. So I don't know if that's definitely where it's going. It seemed, reading the tea leaves, it seems like there's a chance it may go that way. So Michigan may be wrapped up. We'll see. I put out a list of if Michigan wants to widen the net candidates on Monday, where I said, if you're going to look at other people, maybe look at like Manny Diaz or Jason Eck. But if it's Jeff Brom, I would be very good with that choice. But Biff Poggi, the Michigan interim coach, made his case for the job in a press conference, but also talked about the job in general and what whoever gets the job is going to have to deal with. Here's Biff Poggi from Monday.
Everything that happens in this building has to be reevaluated, quite frankly, because it is not up to standard. The staff has to be reevaluated, and I mean the coaches, I mean the analysts, I mean everybody in the building except Dave, but has to be evaluated. Our strength and conditioning, our nutrition, our medical, everything, because obviously it has been 5 years of, let's just call it what it is, a malfunctioning organization where there's something every year. And I know that what the athletic director has made very clear, he doesn't want any more of that. And so if I am named the coach, which again, I don't know if I am, but there will be a massive self-examination of what happens in this building. And you can expect a lot of changes.
A malfunctioning organization. Now, I will point out that Biff Poggi was at Michigan on the staff for quite a few of those things that happened. So obviously, like some of it's, a lot of it's out of his control. Maybe all of it's out of his control, but it is interesting that the way he phrases that makes it sound like he wasn't there. Also, the one thing that doesn't need to be evaluated, for those who don't know who Dave is Dave Abloff, the sports information director. He was not talking about former Michigan AD Dave Brandon. He was talking about Dave Abloff, who does a great job and does not need to be evaluated.
That kind of sounded like a job interview, so that was nice. That sounded nice.
Yeah. No, it did.
I also find it absolutely hilarious that usually when coaches speak like that, you're talking about like a terrible program that sucks, and they like won the national title during that window.
They won 9 games this year already. They were 9-3.
Yeah,
this team was 9-3.
And it's not to make light of the serious thing that just happened there. Obviously, that's not football. That's personal life stuff. But yeah, the camera, what is it? Cameragate? What did we call it? Spygate. Like all that stuff.
Connor Stallion stuff.
Yeah. You don't want to get in trouble. And I get it. That said, do you think he made your list? Do you think this is somebody they could hire?
I don't think so. Right, because the only reason is because I don't think you're making that hire for a longer term. You're making that hire as probably a 1-year situation. And I don't think that's not something you want to announce to the world. Like, hey, we're just going to do this for a year. And so I think you hire the person you think will lead you into the future.
Acknowledge 2 things. One, he was the head coach at another program and it went awful. So like you have to take that into account.
I will point out, so he was 6-16 in 2 years at Charlotte. Do you know what Tim Albin was at Charlotte this year?
They only won 1 or 2 games this year, right?
He was 1-11 and they fired the AD.
Yeah. Yeah. But here's the other thing. You know that evaluation that he said needed to occur? Every single coach who gets hired in a new place does that evaluation. It's the first thing they do.
New. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You take stock of what you have and how things are going, what went wrong, and you make those changes right out of the gate. So I don't think that the evaluation of everybody in the building is like a unique thing to him. that he's the only one that could do that or would do that. But yeah, I think that we'll be getting Michigan coaching news at some point in the next 8 days, just based on the calendar.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I would think before this game gets played. The Citrus Bowl is Michigan, Texas. It is December 31st, so New Year's Eve, Orlando, 3 p.m. Eastern on ABC. So I suspect we'll have the interview with whoever Michigan hired at the game. Like they'll be watching. Hey, what do you think about the Bryce Underwood? Blah blah blah. Yeah, all that. So, and Biff got asked yesterday about Bryce Underwood, and he said, "Hey, we're just worried about." He said, "I assume he's going to be here for next year." He said, and then said, "Hey, we're just worried about Texas. They got some monsters on their defense, and they do. They definitely do." So, what do you think happens in this game? Because this is another one where, I mean, I have no idea where this thing goes. And obviously the Michigan players have been through the ringer these last few weeks.
I think Texas is going to do to Michigan what Ohio State did to them in a less of a margin. Like, I think that Michigan's going to have a very hard time scoring. And it's going to look a lot like, and that doesn't even take into account, like, is everybody on the team, like, devastated? Right. And, Biff Poggi himself said they felt betrayed. So I'm going to lay the points here, and I feel pretty comfortable doing that. Texas is going to play their like they care. Yeah.
And I would assume Texas will play like they care. Now, Texas thought they should have been in the playoff. Now, the thing about Texas, though, and this is you've brought this up in relation to Notre Dame. Texas knew it wasn't getting in. And so it wasn't a shock to the system. They haven't spent a couple weeks going, we should have been in, we should have been. Like they had to process the we should have been ins a long time ago. Like after they lost to Georgia, they started processing the we should have been ins.
Yeah. And I actually think, of all the cases of teams that feel like they should have been in, that they have one of the more compelling ones. So, you can't lose the extra game. It doesn't matter who you're playing. They lost. I don't feel bad they don't get in. But when you look at the resume in totality and the record, I think that they had if I were a Texas fan or a Texas reporter, I would have written, and I did write about, that's a compelling case. But I think their defense is nasty. I still think Michigan is limited offensively. It's much better than it was a year ago, but it's still not where it needs to be. Give me the defense with the freaks on it against that offense.
Once again, because this is a non-CFP bowl, you make perfectly legitimate football arguments for your case, and I agree with all of them. But this is feelings ball, baby. Give me Biff Poggi and the ultimate victory cigar. Give me the Wolverines to cover. Actually, I don't know if he gets the victory cigar. He's got to.
Yeah, I was going to say, are you picking him to win?
I'll take the points. I'm not stupid. I'm going with feelings here, but I'm not. One of the feelings is not stupidity. So I will take the points here.
Yeah. It'll be a nice little appetizer to the playoff game the same day. I'm excited to watch it.
It's going to be awesome. We got football all week. As I mentioned multiple times during the show, if you want to watch some football, that you could have the sound down and be listening to this show. But this is my favorite time when you're wrapping presents and watching day bowl games, because we got Louisville and Toledo playing right now as this show is dropping. And who knows, maybe the head coach at Louisville will be the head coach at Michigan next year, or maybe not. Maybe the search continues. We shall see. Sport never ceases to be interesting. Mega Board Wednesday coming up tomorrow. We'll talk to you then.